You know, so we're going to move over and do something else. I'll check in with Star Citizen every once in a while. Hopefully they'll get their ducks in a row there, and by the time Squadron 42 launches, it'll be ready. For now, we're going to look at something else. All right, let's pause that over there. I'm going to look at the live stream number 2. So what we're looking at today, we're going to start with the combat sections. I'm going to try and break these up into chunks on the YouTube channel, because like yesterday's video, I watched a 3-hour video and it turned into a 5-hour video, and that kind of content is just not going to be real meaningful in YouTube. Yeah, I haven't, right? I mean, I think I've only really done 2. There was one from one of the early fleet tours where we could fly around the Javelin. That was mostly just me flying around the dang ship. And then there was one from a fight that I had with Ikorim. And he was in Hawk and I was in Hawk, and we went at it for like 35 minutes or something like that before we ran out of ammunition. And I had been meaning for like the whole 5 years to do some meaningful YouTube content. Just could not find the time to carve it out, but we're going to do it now. It's hard to stay. Some people do it. Space Tomato does it, right? I think he's one of my favorites for it, because there's other people that do content, but I feel like Space Tomato has got the right mix for me. Like, I like to watch his videos. They're informative, they're editorial, but in a way that's well balanced, you know. Definitely it can take as much time to edit, sometimes more. Right? Yeah. I mean, really good content is a job. I admire people that can get it right. Yep. All right, let's see. We're going to jump into this here. Check out live stream number 2. Watch the volume here. And this is the combat section.
Hello, welcome, hi, to our second Dune Awakening live stream here out of our Oslo offices. Again, hiccups happen. I'm still here, we are still here. I hope everyone is still watching. But anyway, we have a lot to go through. I hope
the ships do change, like, you know, every cycle.
Comfortably. Before we go over the segment and what's coming up, some information for those of you who might have missed it. We have moved the release date for Dune Awakening from the 20th of May to the 10th of June, with a head start on the 5th of June. That will give us a little bit of more time to work on some improvements, so there's no concern, there's no reason for concern. We just wanted to work on a few things a little bit longer, and hopefully it makes for a better gameplay experience for everyone as well. And more importantly, it gives us the time to do non-NDA beta weekends on a large scale.
Which is how I got involved.
To talk about the game, you will make videos. Hopefully that is exciting to you. So that was one of the reasons as well. But what are we going to talk about today? So the segments. Combat. We will be talking about the vision of our combat.
Out for blood.
We will show you gameplay of both solo combat and group combat. We might even show some PvP.
They did kind of.
And then we will also have a segment about service structure.
There's been a lot said about the number of Haga basins that they stack in.
And how it will be working.
So my takeaway is they will add more Haga basins, more starter zone servers in the worlds that the early access people hop into. So I'm pretty sure that in most cases people will be able to join the early access worlds if people they know are already there.
Watch a quick video.
There are of course going to be people that are going to be like, well, I don't want to join those early access worlds. I want to join new worlds, but I don't know if they're actually going to open new worlds unless there's just a massive deluge of people that need to get in the game. I think Funcom's intent is to make sure they funnel as many people from the regular launch date on the 10th into the Head Start servers as possible, so that the people who are Head Start are left with active servers, right? Not servers where the early access people are jumping over to the new server with their friends that start on the regular start date. How much of that actually happens, we'll just have to see, because that's one of those things that these massively on multiplayer, right? And even if it's not more than 1,000 people in a particular world, that's still big numbers. And the number of people that will be launching into the game on the launch day, on early access as well, but especially on regular launch day on the 10th, is definitely a massive number. There's going to be tens of thousands of people that are hopping into these worlds. So I don't know how many they're going to have to spawn and spool up, and how many Haga Basins, because each of the starter zone areas, the Haga Basins, are only 40 people, right? They're capped at 40 on at the same time, and I don't know how the queue system is going to fill those up, because like even during the beta weekend, Detox and GT Matt and some of the other IMI guys, they got onto their particular siege. I think, actually, I'm calling them Haga Basins, but it's the siege is like world and siege is what they call it in the server list, where they build their bases. And they were full when I went to join the day later. But later that night, they weren't full anymore. They weren't locked, right? So there must have been 40 people active in that siege/Haga Basin when I decided to try and join them the first time. And then later in the day, there must have been less than 40 people playing on it because I was able to join. And I know there's a queue system involved, and once you are able to join a particular siege/Haga Basin, there's priority over new people who have not already joined on those. But I don't know how that's going to play out in the long run, right? Because these are going to be big numbers on the 5th and the 10th. And even if people can join their early access, I keep saying early access, I shouldn't. Even if people do join their Head Start friends, I think that if they're going to get big time queued, you're going to wind up with those people going, you know what, never mind, I'm just going to go on a new one instead. And then there's going to be a guild community or whatever. It's like people that were on the 10th couldn't get in on the Head Start X service from the 5th, so they hop over on a different one, and then they've got to decide which one are they going to stay on. Unless the queue isn't too bad, because they're going to spin up new sieges and Haga Basins for the world, because the world and the Deep Desert and the community hubs and the collection of sieges and Haga Basins, because if you're in World 1 and you're in Siege 25 and your friend is in Siege 27, it doesn't really matter, because you can visit each other on the different sieges. You can play on either one, or a completely different one that you're not building on, that's in the same world. So as long as they bring up new sieges and Haga Basins, then it'll all be fine. Potentially, there's no issue, as I thump my joystick with my elbow. Ow. But yeah, we're just going to have to see how it plays out. Obviously, you can tell this is one of those things that I'm worried about, because I'm really excited to get started on the 5th. And I would really kind of like for my progress to stick through the 10th. So I'm hoping that the group that I'm playing with will all be able to get on the 5th. No, I don't know what you're talking about there, Mega. I'm not sure at all what you're talking about. You sound a little bit like a troll.
Few survive this world. But those who do.
Muad'Dib, the little mouse.
Awaken. The desert wants you dead, off-world.
To be honest, I think that people that are excited for the Dune launch, that tree is probably kind of built in. If you're not excited, then that tree's dead.
Walk this path alone. In every danger, there is opportunity. The foundation of something greater. A power waiting to be harnessed.
Desert power.
Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore, to fight for, to conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control.
Shai-Hulud.
Master Arrakis, and it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Yeah, that dude on that sand bike was toast. He just lost all his gear.
Welcome back. So, combat, we have seen your comments, your feedback on combat and what we've shown so far. So obviously we want to show you more. And to talk about combat, I have two guests with me now, two very interesting guests, and they really know what they're talking about. For one, I have Viljar here, game director on Dune Awakening. Viljar, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi, I'm Viljar. I've been on the project for about 5 years, game director. Other projects I've worked on, I started at Funcom 25 years ago, working on Anarchy Online. I also worked here at...
He's been around a while.
I did some travel.
Anarchy Online, man, that takes me back.
Shooter,
I didn't play a lot of it.
Absolution,
That was a long time ago.
Edge Catalyst, to mention a few games.
So a lot of things that are very relevant as well to especially this section and combat in Dune Awakening too. And then also, last but not least, we have Alex, lead combat designer. Alex, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Alex, lead combat designer on Dune Awakening. With Funcom, I've been for like 16 years now, with the last big project being Conan Exiles. Yeah.
Has it been 16 years?
It's been 16
That's
years.
kind of
That feels
crazy.
super old. It's great. I love
That's
it.
crazy.
Yeah.
I remember doing like Conan Exiles streams with you back in the days as well. It was super fun too.
It's good times.
Yes, good times. Anyway, now we're actually talking about combat in Dune Awakening though. And to talk about combat, we also have to talk about the vision of our combat in Dune Awakening.
Let me get out of her way. I know as soon as I move myself, I'm going to need to move back.
In open world survival games specifically. But what does that actually mean, Viljar?
Yeah, so when we set out, we wanted to make the best combat experience in the survival game genre. Combat in Dune Awakening is about the interplay between ranged, melee, and abilities. It is responsive and reactive. It is about positioning and movement. Quick in, quick out. Players focused on ranged and players focused on melee should have equal opportunity to succeed, but everyone will need to use
No argument.
abilities.
Natasha's definitely prettier than I am.
Means switching play style depending on the situation. Use ranged weapons as someone approaches, then quickly switch to melee as they get near.
So basically combat is fast and with a lot of movement, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we are less about the perfectly timed button press, but more about the overall tactic, like reading the combat environment. So we looked more to action games than traditional survival games when it came to building our combat. So we are not going for a Souls-like approach to combat.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important to mention as well, like actiony but not Souls-like. And in that context,
There is a
I think it's
little
also
bit
very
of
important to
Souls-like
mention
in
that
there, though.
The combat has to work both
The
in
parries
solo and in a group
and
play,
like retaliate in the Swordmaster
That's a
tree.
difficult
The
technique.
timing
Group
is
play,
very
group
important there for
play,
it to work. But
Group gameplay setting. There we go. Thank you, brain. There we go. Not hiccup.
Yeah, so we need to support solo and group play, as you said. So, as
But in a
solo
lot of
player,
ways,
you
it's,
really
yeah,
should try
less-
to separate enemies from the group. So try to approach it with a divide and conquer mentality. Abilities provide great opportunities for this approach, basically. So you can command a single NPC to come to you.
And good morning,
or
Camille.
you can use a gravity grenade to keep the enemies behind them at bay. or even use a shield wall, which is normally used for cover, to actually put it in place of someone who approaches you, and then it will slow them down.
Would be an interesting
Giving you more
thought.
React to come up with your tactics to deal with them. And sometimes it's okay to bravely run away. You can disengage with
Run
a
away!
Shield
Run
or
away!
even, a knee charge, which can be seen as combat tools, but also as good tools to get away from combat when you need to. And yes, on the co-op side, playing with friends is easier, but you still need to be careful and not pull everyone at the same time. Like the paradigm that we worked with is 1 enemy is fine, 2 will provide a challenge, and 3 should be hard. So if you go beyond that, you kind of brought it on yourself.
Good point in the end. You mentioned abilities and tools and things. One thing that's very important in the game as a whole is basically be able to customize your kind of experience, right? Like that goes
Yes,
into
which I think they've done a really good
customization,
job with.
how you want to play outside of combat too. But more importantly, it really also goes into kind of customizing your own combat and your playstyle, right?
Yes, that's correct. So one of our pillars is expression and customization, and this is something that we follow throughout everything that we do in the game. So it's not just about making your character look the way that you want, but it's also developing the combat style that you want.
How you play.
You can, of course, fully commit to an archetype to play out a specific Dune fantasy, but you can also pick from all the skill trees if you want to take a more of a generalist approach.
And if you talk combat, of course, we also have to talk weapons. For one, ranged weapons. We've seen quite a few ranged weapons in examples of combat videos that we've shown. But can you tell us a little bit more about ranged combat in specific?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of ranged weapons in our game, and luckily the Dune lore actually supports this. It's mentioned many, many times in the Dune books. However, our approach with the mechanics and everything is that they're spring-loaded and mechanical. So we use dodge instead of bullets, which give them kind of a different feel to what you use from other games. I'll mention a few examples, like we have something called the drill shot. This will fire burrow darts. It will hit a shield and burrow through. And if you don't do a dash to counter that, it will go through the shield.
Yeah, no sniper glint.
But as I mentioned, you can
Definitely
do a dash,
don't add that.
assuming you have.
And from what I saw
and then they
in
will
early
fall
testing,
down.
there is
So
none.
you have to
So
be aware
that's
of
good.
these things and use dash and stamina elegantly and with purpose. We also have weapons, ranged weapons that you might see are similar to other games. For instance, we have something called the Karpov, which is an assault rifle. So.
Which actually is my
And then we
favorite so
also
far,
have
the Karpov. I liked it
Disruptor,
a
which
lot.
is kind of like an SMG, right? That's
Better
specific
range and
to
precision.
gameplay as well. That's kind of important too.
Yes, of course. So we have the Disruptor, which is very effective at taking down.
Didn't get a
shield.
chance
So
to
you
use
see
a
someone
Disruptor.
coming
I'm going to
towards
definitely
you,
try that out.
With a shield on, quickly switch it to your Disruptor, try to take down the shield and take them out before they get close to you.
Right. And when we talk about shields, of course, they are a very important part of the Dune universe. Melee combat as well, which we know that's one of the topics that a lot of people have talked about because we
And
haven't
this
really
is
shown
the
that or
melee
explained
combat
it
is
that
the
much
biggest
in,
thing that's been criticized
showcases or
because
videos
it's not as
specifically.
fluid as
So
some
let's
games.
talk about shields and melee.
They've been working on it
Yeah,
past
so
the weekend beta
on the
too,
melee
so
side,
I'm
we
looking
have
forward to
swords,
seeing how it
rapiers,
launches.
We have the Kinjal, we have the Chris knife. Swords deal damage in an area, but they are kind of slow. You do a swing, but it's kind of slow compared to the Kinjal, which is very
You can
fast,
definitely
but only
feel the
focuses
difference.
on one
Use a long
enemy
blade
at
versus a
time.
short
so
blade.
Even there, you can play as you like. And of course, our shields, they work a little different from what you're used to in other games, I think. Our shields actually go down when you shoot, which makes you vulnerable. So you go into an encounter and start shooting, and suddenly you wonder why you take a lot of damage. Your shield went down. Now, this can be used, this also works the other way. So if you go against an enemy, if you time it right, you see them start firing, and then you dodge out of the way, and then you start damaging them. So it's about looking for windows of opportunity while dodging out of the way from damage. So you can, of course, do the melee approach, where your shield won't go down when you attack. However, you're still vulnerable to the slow blade attack. This is a special attack where if you're fighting against a shielded enemy, with a little bit of extra effort, you can actually press through their shield.
Which is when you do the long hold click.
Completely safe. And the last thing I'll mention on this is that you can be staggered by various attacks, in which case you should use the dash, as I mentioned already. And again, it uses stamina.
And stagger / stun lot
So the
on
dash is kind
zero
of a
stamina
get out
was
of-
a problem
get out of jail
in the
free
beta
card sometimes,
weekend,
as long
but
as you have
they've
stamina, right?
changed some of that
And if you
now.
talk shields
So
and
staggering,
weapons,
stun lock stuff,
we have to mention the
you should have a
last
chance to get out of it now.
course.
You could definitely get locked in before, and it was a little
The
frustrating.
way that the last guns work in lore is that if you fire a last gun at a shield, you get an atomic explosion. And fun as that may seem in the short term, we deemed it impractical. So
I like that it's like, we deemed it impractical. It's just like have a nuclear
I can only
explosions all
imagine
over
if they had put that
the
mechanic in.
But we figured it
The
out.
griefers, the salty, oh my
Probably
God.
not. Yeah, it would be hilarious maybe for a day or so, but then I
It
think
was funny.
players would get kind of tired of it.
yeah, exactly. So the way we did it is that the Emperor decreed that any last gun produced or crafted on Arrakis will have a safety. So basically, if you try to fire a last gun at someone who's shielded, the last gun just will refuse to fire.
Right.
So that's how we dealt with
Yeah,
that.
as a kind of a elegant solution to the whole problem. Also, if we talk Holtzman tech, which the shield is of course a Holtzman tech, we have more Holtzman tech in the game, of course.
Yes. Yeah, so you have the Holtzman, the suspensor belts, and these are really good for both
Which is
traversal and
amazing.
combat. So you can use them during combat to get out of trouble, or you can use it to descend upon your enemy. It's not an ability per se, but it's one aspect of the game which supports other abilities and how you use them.
I love them. They're really fun, and there's like different types of them too. Like hover, you can control it like more up and down and vertically, or just fall damage and things like that.
Yeah.
You briefly also mentioned the Dune fantasy earlier on, and of course, if you talk about that, we have archetype, like we call them in the game, that are very much going into this Dune fantasy of like, we have characters that people might know from the books or the movies, like Duncan Idaho, Swordmaster, for example. And for example, we also talked, Mali, we do actually have a Swordmaster archetype in the game, right?
Yeah, so we have the Swordmaster. They're of course melee focused. So some of the abilities that they have are deflection, where they can actually run towards an enemy who's firing darts at them and deflect those darts and don't take damage. They have the knee charge, which is very practical when you want to knee kick someone. But again, you can also use it for traversal to get away or get into.
It's one of the abilities that I want from
And then they also have something
Swordmaster
called
for
the Eye of
sure.
the Storm, which is a whirlwind that will attack everything that they hit. It will damage everything they hit around them. And I want to mention this specifically for the beta players, because we've actually reworked how this whirlwind attack works. So the next version that you'll play will be much cooler.
There we go. A little bit of a nugget for the beta players. Thank you for all your feedback, by the way. It's very valuable and very much appreciated. Also, I am very much a Swordmaster at heart. I also like Retaliate, for example, which is a super cool skill, but we don't go into detail about that. You can try that out soon, hopefully yourself.
That's like
But
a
if you talk about archetype,
riposte kind of thing, right?
Some of you might have
You
started
use
watching the show
Retaliate
or
and
watching
you
the
try
show,
and parry or
and it
block
just
the
leads to
attack
show
and then
that's
counterattack.
I think it's on HBO, if I remember correctly.
It's kind of cool, but I had a hard time with the timing on it.
But we also have a Bene Gesserit archetype tree as well, right?
Yes, we do have the Bene Gesserit, and they're all about voice powers and supreme muscle control. So they have abilities like the Bindu Sprint, where they can run at incredible speed.
Another
run into
must-have.
combat or run away from combat. They have the Compel, which is where they can command someone to get to them and incapacitate them for a bit until you and actually give you time to damage them before they regain control over their limbs. And they also have the Weirding Step, which is a very cool ability where they can move superhumanly fast behind someone and then attack from the back.
So these are, of course, only two of the archetype trees that we mentioned, but
The weirding step is really effective, but
kind
it
of
doesn't
surprising
necessarily
because it's
automatically
surprising because
point
those are
you
my
at your
favorite ones.
target.
I go with
So
them
you
a
have to
lot.
be
I like
conscious
to
of
buy-
that
I love
when you
combining
jump
Swordmaster
behind
and
them. You need to make
Bene
sure you
Gesserit
get pointed in the
because
right
they just
direction.
Works well
I
together.
know some people
especially
love to
also
use it
like
with the
the
shotgun too.
but we'll
Boop
see
right behind
more
him.
of that a little later
Ba-doom.
in the combat segment.
Can be very
If
lethal
we
in the
talk about
videos I
the
saw.
universe, of course, we need to talk about spice. Spice is important in the game for pretty much everything. It influences politics, it influences economics, it influences your character in all different kind of interesting and special ways, and it also influences combat.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's true. So you
6
have
days,
this
that's right, Up to Bob.
special
Can't wait.
ability called prescience. This is where you gain special powers through spice consumption or even inhaling spice in a spice field if you don't have if you're not wearing a spice mask for protection. So in the game, you start with 2 abilities, and then when you play the story, you will unlock a 3rd ability at the same time as you unlock the spice prescience feature. So this is a very cool, very powerful mode to be in, where you will reduce the cooldowns on all of your abilities by quite a lot. You'll
And you
deal
get
a lot more
these
damage from your abilities,
freaky
from
purple
range,
glowing
from
eyes. It's very obvious when you trigger the spice mode.
and additionally, it will actually trigger what we call capstone skills. So these are special passive skills that you invested in the various skill trees that we have, and they will only be active when you're in this special mode. So a few examples there are the shield overcharge, where you can actually see vulnerabilities in others' shield, and you can focus on those vulnerabilities and take down their shields faster. We have the Bindu dodge, where it appears as if dodge and blade attacks pass through you. Your health will regenerate at an accelerated pace.
Good morning.
But what's really helpful to get an eye...
Garnet Ice Lady. I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out how I could get Garnetica out of there, and then I realized that there was 2 words. Garnet Ice Lady. Good morning, how you doing?
Also, the type of NPC that you will be dealing with, and it lasts for quite some time as well. It's a very powerful mode to be in, and it looks pretty cool.
It definitely is.
Especially with
Super
ammunition,
effective
like,
when it hits.
Kills ammunition, that's not that important, but it actually
And you do
shows
get to
when you
choose to
have
trigger it. You
a
build up
window
your
to actually attack.
your
Because-
spice
Yes, exactly, because NPCs have to reload as well. They kind of react very much
bar.
like players have to as
I don't
well.
know what else to call it.
But-
Your spice load.
That was a lot of information.
Nice.
A lot of talk. And we're actually now going to show you how that actually looks in gameplay. We'll have Alex here.
I will say that what they didn't talk about, and maybe they will afterwards, or maybe they'll show it, but if you once you trigger, like you fill up your bar with spice and you get ready to switch over to the spice infused mode with the purple glowing eyes and the extra abilities, and you're quite a powerhouse, right? Is once that runs out, and it runs for, I don't know, I feel like it's a minute or a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. It's a noticeably long time. It might be a little bit longer than that, but it's not a lot longer than that. When you come down off of it, you have a spice withdrawal period where you can see delusions. And that's really interesting. I look forward to seeing how that plays out more once we get into the game, because I only really got to do it once near the end of the beta weekend. But it was a cool mechanic.
Hopefully.
Play like a pro, like the pro he is, because he really knows what he's doing. No
Move back
pressure,
over
no
here
pressure.
and try and
Alex.
stay out of the UE
Let's
elements.
see where we go to. We have had this character set up in a location of our choosing to showcase the combinations of experiences that our players will be able to have. Combat is a dance of multiple things, and we have a wide selection of very interesting toys.
Are you going to be a head
So
start?
that our
The
viewers
Garnet?
can see and experience.
So this will
Or
be
you
solo
regular
combat
start on the
first,
10th?
right? Just to make that clear.
Ooh, we're actually low on water. I forgot to solve that problem beforehand. And we're
No.
standing in the sunlight.
See, that's why you should always be prepared if you go
Right,
out. Make
absolutely.
sure you have enough
We
water.
will
Make
not
sure you have,
cheat to fix this problem.
enough
We will
energy.
suffer the consequences
because we can cheat.
we will find water in the location that we go to. As you
But
see
it-
here, we've begun to be dehydrated. But sorry,
Yes.
It's very much worth mentioning that you'll be having fewer dashes because you're low on hydration.
Your stamina actually gets,
Dehydrated
like,
and now
you can
sunstroked.
see where the pips are on the bottom left of the screen above the hydration icon. Every time you cross that threshold, you're given a bonus to your stamina. Right now, because we're below both of the thresholds, we do not have that bonus. It's a missed statistical opportunity.
And your health goes down as well.
And the
over
health is
time.
going to be ticking down. We have a challenge. We'll overcome the challenge. I promise.
And on the same time, you're also sunstroke.
I'm also sunstroke, yes.
Yeah.
Everything
So
that's going
if
bad,
it
will
rains,
go
it
bad.
pours, right? Even it's
Absolutely.
Arrakis,
Lovely.
but it
Yes.
still rains, it pours.
It's
yeah.
pouring sunlight.
Go for it.
So, first, I'm going to talk about the tools that we're bringing, and then we're going to touch on the...
Yeah, I can't wait. Less than a week, 6 days. Let me in.
Specifically going to be
Ready to play.
style. Let's talk about first the equipment. We have a selection of items: healing, melee, disruptor, rifle, scattergun. These all have their uses. I will use them interchangeably in combat. We have a armor kit. This is light armor. This is more focused around dashing and dodging and being more protective against melee attacks. We have our battery
I don't
pack.
know if that was a crash or a spice balloon.
Two of our primary resources. which
Pre-download is on the 4th.
Technically, they're both from the same pool. The energy pool,
think-
which Holtzman shields use.
Remember what time it is
and
now.
This is the Holtzman shield, and Holtzman suspense use also. Now, we'll
I
quickly
want to
show this
say
before
it
we
was
go any
something
further.
like
So,
6
I will
p.m.
first activate my
Eastern.
shield. Boop, boop. Fantastic.
Nice.
And I don't remember
And then,
for
as
sure
Luna
now.
said,
It might be earlier. It might be at 10 a.m.
Of Dune forces projectiles to have to put down a shield for them to read it.
That must be
We
at
must
10
time.
10 a.m. Eastern.
We must time
On the 4th,
our
we'll be able to
gameplay around
pre-download
this.
it.
Then, suspenses. The one I chose is the one I personally prefer the most. It is energy efficient. It doesn't give me vertical velocity, but it allows me to float. To float.
So tell us which one that was. Come on, guy.
We'll have to cheat to solve this water problem. This is becoming poignant.
And you saw that his shield started blinking there. That's because he was low on energy while he was suspended.
I'm gonna gas out and pop the bubble.
Boom.
There we go. Right. So here we have lost our shield. We have lost the perfect barrier because it is tied to the resource pool. Because we're floating, it will regenerate, and it will re-engage.
And how good your power
go.
cell, I think it's called a
Now,
power cell, is
terms of
determines how long
Let's
that,
have a quick look.
how slowly or how quickly that bar empties.
Camera overlay is hiding a couple of buttons, but I'll pretend I know where they are and click through them. So here we see our 5 archetypes, and my choice of skills, for me personally, and because of the setup that we're playing, which is away from the TV a little bit, on remote hardware. So if I miss, it's not my fault, it's the hardware's fault. I'm getting that out of the way now.
No gaming chair either.
No,
so
no,
it's
no,
like-
no, 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 no. Knee charge, compel, and assault seeker. In terms of my techniques, which are actions that function passively, I can't read them without glasses. Oh my goodness! Right, that believe it says center of mass. We have energy conservation to give me more juice so that I can fight for longer, float for longer, shield for longer, and death from above to give me benefits to my damage output while I'm floating.
That explains why he's using the hover.
Let's do this actually. Let's do a little bit cheating so that people don't see the magic hands while we're fixing the character.
The water
The
consumption.
water
Come
consumption.
on.
The thing that our support crew don't
I'm gonna
realize
do
is that I
some-
need
I'm
to see
gonna
the
do
other
some
monitor
water
so that I can fix it
consumption
as
as
well.
well, actually, just
Fantastic.
to-
I'm gonna look this way to fix it. Magic button there.
Just so we are like aligned with
It's just
our character
completely
too.
fair. There's no problems at all. This is just magic that happens.
Do you need some water as well? Are you
No, I'm
okay?
good. It's fine. So the character's fixed,
Nice.
hydrated, cheating concluded. See, we have a blue bar. It's magic. Perfectly planned, perfectly prepared.
And now,
nothing
because
happened.
she's
It was all planned
hydrated,
and
you
ready.
can see right down below the health bar is starting to fill back up.
The health doesn't go
Exactly.
up immediately. You will have
Because-
to regenerate health.
Because we are
Takes time.
hydrated, we are regaining our maximum lost life.
Although there's some
Right,
Bene
so
Gesserit
we'll give
passives
it
that help
we'll give it a second
increase that
so that we don't
recovery.
completely get destroyed even though we're shielded as we progress forward.
We can also talk about the fact that you're actually wearing a helmet, but you can actually hide the helmet.
Should I show that?
You can. I mean, it's not combat related, but I think a lot of
Where is
people
that
are
button, if you
actually
guys remember?
press D. You can press D,
Press the B key.
and there you go. So
There
you have a
it is.
toggle.
Oh,
there, so
see,
you
I
can
didn't
actually,
even know that screen was there
toggle your
that
helmet on and off, and that works with
I
all
like
armor.
lets you focus on the
Needs to,
armor.
like a lot of players, like just have like I don't want to
snip
see.
out of
I
this.
want to see the beautiful
That's cool.
face I made during the character.
There's more to that interface than I realized during the beta
You can
weekend.
survive the first encounter. That's just
I hope
outside.
so. And we have DBNO mechanics that allow me to stand back up again. Let's experience.
And you're also,
Well, if not, you have
and you're
an
also
excuse.
being dehydrated by the sun again.
Still, right.
Yep.
Let's get into the
Still
challenge.
heat stroked.
I will. The location we're going to is an eco lab. It's to the forward left. We're gonna rotate counterclockwise and hit the entrance. I've been in this eco lab a couple times, so I have a relatively good memory of where the NPCs are. But if I make a mistake, it's not my fault. It's the hardware's fault. We should begin.
There's something wrong with this PC. Does he know Chris
Bold
Roberts?
approach here.
This is not. I hit every bullet. It's absolutely not me. We'll reheal, and because we're shielded, we continue to advance. Let's get into it. Let's pressure this. Let's pick up the tempo. I'm gonna go here, rotate left, compel core. Thank you. We dispatch him easily. We're relatively safe here. This character is by himself. His mate was dispatched. We're shielded. We're in shadow, and we're inside. This is the entrance of our Ecolab location. I used compel there as one of my skills. In the very beginning of the game, we do not have access, like Vilja said, to all 3 skills. You must experience a certain narrative event before they come online.
Yeah.
At that
You
point-
probably have gotten it at this point in the game,
yes.
because it's like 10 hours in or something.
Do you remember which tier we're in right now?
Steel.
Steel tier?
Well, this one is steel tier, but it's placed in Iron tier area.
Right, it's the challenging Ecolab.
Yeah.
This must be number
It's one of
10
my
then.
favorites because it is quite long. It has very interesting disposition.
Which I didn't get to see during the
It
weekend.
forces you to really, really work.
But everybody did
Especially
say it
if
was
you're-
more difficult.
So we're gonna make our way down the hall. Actually, no, we'll save that for later. I was thinking about activating the present state, but I think we'll save that for later. So let's see. We have 2 characters here. They don't know we're here. We will. No, we won't do that. We'll just open up the scattergun. Oh no! Okay, that was my mistake.
You
Shield
could
back
though,
on.
like if you crouch, you're actually making less noise.
This is one of the things that is not often evident, because if you crouch your character, you do not generate audio movement events. What that means is that if you can predict which way NPCs will move,
Semi-stealth.
you can get much closer to them to do what I essentially did here, which is get the scattergun in a much, much closer position.
Yeah, and this scattergun obviously is better at close range because it scatters a lot of pellets, a lot of darts.
We will push through. Let's have a look.
Yeah, because the scattergun is basically like your shotgun approach in other
Yeah.
games.
The other interesting element here is that, as Vilja said prior, we don't only. Ooh, I missed.
Oh, that was a
that's
nice-
interesting.
nice dodge
Let's
from the
not.
NPC.
Let's not. Oh, I'm shielded. He's not going to do anything. It's okay. We'll find him. Overpowered. One of the things that Vilja mentioned before is that because of the setting, because of the Holzman technology, and because of how we need to value, there has to be value to attacking something, but not really taking its hit points away. Which is where staggers and the stagger mechanics really come in.
Yeah.
For example,
Stagger's
the
actually
is one of
huge in the
best tools
game.
You have to force a stagger at short range, not melee range, but at short range, to a target that you manage to land all of your darts on. So we're going to continue advancing, explore this space. Shall we activate the special?
Just wait till you get
energy?
in a little bit of trouble.
Let's get a bit of trouble. So, kind of a longer corridor. I will zoom in with my magical Mark 1 eyeball to try to spot the baddies as we advance ever so slowly. No. There we go. Right. Let's pull back.
There's
Lead
three in
charge.
there.
We
Yep.
proceed to compel. Tactically withdraw.
He didn't.
Heroically running away.
Oof. Okay. I need to. This is the
Trying to
other element.
separate
We need
the
to
shielded
disposition them.
melee from.
Oh, he didn't get through. Oh, this dodging. Please push through. Nice. I need to. I have my abilities.
So we see it's very much about positioning.
They
and
missed their
tactical,
charge. He missed the
commands.
compel.
You staggered. Push through. Push through. Push through. Nice.
And as you saw, the NPC was actually doing a knee charge against you because they have the same abilities as we do.
And he's on reload, and I follow through.
He was just
Successfully.
reloading. Yes, nice.
Successfully. We might actually get NPCs to maybe be a little bit more clever with when they reload versus shielded characters. That's a future team conversation. Let's handle
Maybe you
that.
can at least imbibe some spice beer so you're ready for it.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's take before we go any further. Let's one. That'll push our bar upwards, and we have to wait a few ticks for it to get ready. We're not going to trigger it yet. We're going to wait for the go signal before we get spicy.
Also, you can do that via food or drinks, but also sometimes it kind of goes up organically.
I mean, if you go to a spice field, you will inhale spice
Yes.
directly.
And you can also see the particles in the air. You actually see it. That's very interesting. Super.
Inhale. And then we follow through, or we keep eyes out for the other characters here.
Oh, finish him.
Oh, no!
Oh, he's gonna come.
Oh, I didn't press the keyboard fault, not my fault. I
Keyboard's
actually
fault.
tried to dodge
There's something wrong with this
or
PC.
technically dash. Push through the shield. Nice.
So you saw the shotgun there staggering the enemy and then following through with a blade.
My objective there was to read the telegraph on the knee charge and move tactically to the side. I had failed. I pressed the wrong button, but it's okay. Success was still had.
He's not looting his
And
boxes.
here, because we're in an eco lab, it
Gives
is
me the
actually
OCD trigger. Loot that box. What are you doing?
Should we activate our power here?
Sure.
Let's
Go
do
for
it. So, we're entering the prescient state. As Vilja said prior, we have increased output of damage, we have reduced cooldowns on our abilities, and more importantly, we have information. And information
you
is
can
how
see
we
the
will
bar
succeed.
in between the pink abilities going down. It's not very quick though.
You are conscious.
I loot everything as well. Give me all of it. I'm definitely a loot goblin.
This character build to its optimum. I will float and fight.
See, there's the pre-science right there. You see, you could see them without seeing them.
No, okay. No, like, go that way.
You did see the buff activate
Yeah,
though
yeah.
on the right side from
You
your
want to heal?
passives
I need to engage
while
this
you were
frame.
floating.
Dash sideways. 1, 2, 3, dash away. Fence. Parry. Follow through.
Successful parry.
Success.
I have, but me and
Since you're you're on the same.
I do have a
tier,
hard
so
time with the
basically
timing
you
on
just
that.
slow blade.
I
If you
am
go against higher
North
tier
American.
enemies, you'll have to use
Although
more
the group that I'm going to be playing with
First-time players experience a
has plenty of EU people in it, so we may wind up playing on an EU server.
Ooh, okay, let's proceed to melee. Yeah, and you shall. Okay, okay.
Yeah, the pre-science must be closer to 5
You were
minutes.
You weren't parrying. You were
Yeah.
holding block actually.
I didn't feel comfortable in the situation to try to risk it. How did he die? I guess he exploded.
Yeah, terrible thing in the EU servers. I know that there was definitely latency issues for me in the weekend beta,
Actually, reload our reload.
but sometimes it was really awful and other times it was okay. So I'm hoping when the game launches, if we're going to play EU, that it won't be
You also see
terrible
now,
for me.
of course, that the spice prescient bar goes
It's
slowly
going down. Yeah, yeah.
And as you saw there, Alex was preparing before the next encounter. You really should prepare before you go into every encounter.
Especially if you play solo, right?
Yeah.
You have to be way more careful.
And you see him
right now
doing it,
if
you
play
can
solo.
switch which shoulder you're viewing
It's
over.
just a question of how many
I
resources
don't remember
players
which
are
button
willing
it
to
is now, but
sacrifice
it's convenient to
for
be
their
able to
speed and or efficiency.
do that.
Let's actually throw a seeker.
Yeah, see that even this
But you
long
also
in,
see here what
he's
you
only
mentioned
halfway
earlier,
down
Joe,
on the
also look
pre-science part.
Like Alex is really trying to be able to pick his fights, right? Like trying to separate enemies, trying to go for cover,
This is a heavy
use his ability
Oh.
to not have to fight everyone.
Yeah.
At the
I
same
compelled the heavy there to force them into a long CC effect while dispatching his friend. I'm going to come back now and solve the problem. Okay. Oh no.
And this is the first time we see a heavy in this.
Let's see,
this
let's
equal.
switch the disruptor and we need to use our explosive damage to get a little bit of chip on him. Not that much chip, but let's see what happens. We're going to go in. 1, 2, 3. Push through, disengage, see if he decides to bubble. No. Another hit. Okay. No.
Now
Yeah,
that's
this guy has a minigun.
is it the people I'm playing with, the group of people that I'll be playing with for the most part. A lot of them are EU. So we're probably going to play in EU servers. During the weekend beta, I had times where the latency was just absolutely trash, right? And then most of the time it was just fine. So I'm hoping that at launch they will have improved that situation and it's at least stable.
I need to stop speaking of focus. It becomes very, very tricky to handle the output that everything is throwing, which is why I need to try to focus these guys down quickly. CC him, disengage, reposition,
I jokingly say running away bravery, but like it's really a tactic.
It's a smart tactic sometimes.
You should try to get away from it, regroup, and then go back in with a plan. Because going up against a lot of enemies solo is tricky.
Right.
I do have some concerns because my ISP is a local ISP. I don't really have a lot of choice in the area I live in. So.
Okay, let's check this way. Rotating, rotate. Right. So again, we'll compel him away from this problem, and then we'll press the opposite direction, and we'll try to dispatch his turns quickly. And it's not me; it's the hardware. Into melee, blocking. No, I failed. Okay, knee charge. Knee charge successful. Push through.
Boom.
Abilities allow you to bypass. Can I? Yes, I can.
And he had compelled that heavy before he had been detected by the heavy, and you saw that heavy moved over there where they were compelled to, and didn't notice her yet until just then.
To be safe, I could probably have succeeded the fight. I just didn't want to choose to risk my resources because everything in Dune costs time, costs investment. Why risk?
Free science is about to run out.
Right.
Yep,
And
it's
you
gone.
might even have lost your shield because of the minion.
And I'll mention for the beta players that we're doing a big rework or iteration on stamina. So a lot more things will cost stamina. Stamina won't always regenerate depending on actions that you do. You won't regenerate stamina as you sprint, for instance. We have a few more fixes coming in for this as well, but it will be a much more valuable and an important aspect of combat.
This version is not on the beta, right?
No, this is
No,
not on the
this
beta.
one-
Right. So this is the first time beta players could be potentially seeing the changes that are upcoming.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lovely lore tidbit. Let's press the button. People can enjoy the text on screen while we proceed to succeed.
That's actually the boss that is talking.
It's the leader of this this area, Inhaler.
I don't see any contacts. We'll push
Man, I cannot
forward
wait to get back in the game.
further. And okay, this looks like a space where something. Here we go. Right. So my press instinct has depleted,
Oh yeah.
which is why I don't see the character's lovely highlights to tell me what they're about to do. So I need to choose when to go in with much less information.
And we can see here what's happening now is that he's in withdrawals. We can't actually consume spice. He needs to wait for that bar to go down, then he can consume spice. However, he will have to consume more spice now than he did in the first round because his tolerance is growing. And this can go up to quite a high level where you have to consume a lot of spice in order to be able.
That makes sense. I didn't know that was the thing,
Shall we
though.
consume spice? Let's see. Oh wait, no. I will know. I will focus on the gameplay. Right, dispatched. Okay, let's see what this character is doing. Okay, he thinks I'm there. Let's compel. One. Break away. Scattergun. See what he does. I'm not there anymore. And I can't hit
Should have
it.
gotten close before he unloaded with the scatter.
Again.
What is the deal? That's weird.
Let's
Why is he
see
still
what happens. We're
compelled?
gonna finish and get our success opportunity.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Back.
Leaving. Nice. And
That was a little weird.
Rearm and re-equip. We'll press this button to rearm this gun. We'll press this button that's already reloaded. Scattergun is reloaded. Disruptor ready. Let's rock and roll. Right. I kind of know this layout. We're going to go down the stairs. And further and further. Let's see again. Shall we? Let's use that. And use more. And spice is the fuel of the Empire. It is a lovely resource. It is expensive, but we are on Arrakis. Therefore, unlike most characters in the universe, we have.
I wish they would explain that tolerance thing.
Spawning the beer.
Is it
It's fine.
once you increase your tolerance to it, are you always going to have to consume more spice, or is that something that fades over time if you don't use it for a while?
And you'll also sometimes find it in loot.
Okay, that's a
And
good
again,
idea. This
if you're
way.
like getting
is
close to spice field, it would also.
Happens if I don't dispatch them quickly. See, I can shoot. I can float and shoot as well. No, I have to reload. That's a mistake, Alex. There we go. My shield almost popped. This is from two attackers. Okay, less speaking, more focus. Sorry. What is he doing? He's being compelled. He will approach. And he'll get stabbed. Nice. Disrupted, reloaded. Right.
He didn't do the slow blade, so I'm guessing he compelled him before he powered his shield on.
Pressing forward and further.
Which is interesting.
We're alone. We continue. I believe we are 2 rooms away from our final destination. Let's see how well we overcome this. We have 1 shooter, 1 fighter, and oh, that's another one. Okay, I will try to quickly compel away. What's that problem? Focus on this problem. Explosive floating bomb. Go down. He decided to. Oh, that's a misplay. Oh,
Oh, he got
I
parried.
will counter your parry with my knee. Successful. Oh, that's his friend. Parry.
Nice.
Counter. Rotation. Fantastic. Do I have to heal? And I just run out of stamina at the end. And they're very much pushing me. This character is actually also, like Vilo was saying beforehand, a little bit pushed to the further end of progression. So I have some things that are helping me. I'm unhydrated. Where is there a water location?
Exactly.
Can I find some water here? maybe?
That to the right there.
There's
No, I thought. No, I thought it was.
Let me do a quick rotation around this room to see if there's a water container somewhere in here. That I
Yeah,
can
there are
explore.
water fountains. I don't know what they're called, but there's little canisters on the wall in some of these that you
Yeah,
can
let's-
get a little bit of
let's-
hydration
oh,
from.
no, let's just check this room here up ahead. Maybe. Oof.
Yeah, there's one.
Well, we shall drink. Get more stamina. Is there a second?
No.
No? No? Okay, 1 is enough. Even without the bonus, it's good not to go too far close to the red. All right, let's continue our experience.
This gives me anxiety to just walk past loot boxes. That is like so
Sorry, developers.
open all
Loot!
the boxes.
Loot him, damn it! What are you doing? Grab the loot!
Okay, let's check this corridor. Nice, okay. Right, and I believe we ought to be somewhere.
And he's skipping the voice recordings too. I
So
presume
this
they
is
don't
where
want
we
to
come
spoil the
to
whole story,
door.
but
You can pass through, but you cannot exit until you've taken care of all the enemies inside.
The terminology of a blood door is started off as an internal keyword for us. These are technically Holtzman shields that have been specifically configured for very, very specific purposes to make a gameplay experience better for the player. We shall proceed through. Now,
And if you look back at the
It's
door,
a boss
you can
room, in
actually
other
exit
words.
now.
however, your friends can follow through.
Yeah.
And sometimes not friends also follow.
This is true.
And this is where some of the deep desert ecology become very, very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so in this location we have a big gameplay space, 3 paths, left, middle, and right, and there is also an underside. I happen to know this because I've reviewed this Ecolab a couple of times, and I will pretend like I don't, but I do. We will engage with this piece of content doing a clockwise rotation, going left and around. Let's see how well we do. We will try not to aggro too much because, as we saw previously, if I make a mistake...
yeah,
I
there's
am-
2 over there, 3 in the
we'll try to
middle, at least 1
minimize
over here on the
mistakes.
left.
Crouching to not risk being
Oh,
hurt
there's another one.
until we absolutely
another one.
have to. That's a heavy. This is a bad location.
Oh, that's
I
a.
should not have gone this way. I need to use
This
the
must
box
be the one with the
to keep
buggy.
the heavy. Let's see how long my shield can hold before
I saw somebody doing some of this content
shield.
during the weekend beta before I got a key to access it.
Run through. We will not fight him because we don't have the resources to. We will engage. No, I missed it. Oh, yeah. No, stop. Please stop. Okay, stab. Finish, crouch.
About to run out of
Below-
prescience.
Below line of fire. That guy. doesn't-
Prescience.
We have resources. We're going to go in. This was a marksman that I happen to know is here. He's quite dangerous if he is not dispatched quickly. They proceed to stack up a lot of poison damage on our players. We will not fight the heavy because that is a dangerous proposition. Instead, continue to rotate around the location to dispatch his friend. Actually, let me see. Maybe it's not so bad. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of this guy before we get into too much trouble. Repel, advance.
No more spice juice.
Stab the head.
In a series of missed attacks.
No,
But it's the mouse, it's not him.
Charge? No, I don't have any stamina. No.
That's exactly when it comes down to resource management.
I'm too eager right now.
Power
yes.
tools.
Does that push through? No, it didn't. Try again. Dash in. And yes. Great.
That'll be me on launch, I know. I'll be back to being clumsy as
There
heck.
we go.
Even a combat designer can play perfectly every single time. That's
It's the
totally fine.
hardware. Please
Yes,
don't blame
it's
me.
the hardware and the
okay.
gaming chair.
I am actually disappointed that my present state is depleted yet again. It is not very.
Dash in and miss,
how many
exactly.
people the
No.
opposition has. However, we will make do.
Normally people won't explain so much as they have the present state basically because you lost quite a bit of it
Yes.
there. It does last for quite some time. Oh,
What did I get? Okay, let's pull back a little bit. See what happens. It's a heavy and a.
and aside from combat like this now, he's in withdrawal, and you start seeing these pink elements showing up every now and then. So after a while, you might start seeing things that aren't there if you trigger presence too often.
The hallucination,
Spice
hallucinations.
can like influence your character in all different kinds of ways.
So you almost had a
I
shield
almost
there.
have a shield. Come on, push through. No, not enough. Next weapon. Oh, successful. Okay, great. And then let's look around to see. Let's actually reload before we push further. Disruptor, rifle, scat gun, fantastic. Rifle equipped. Let's see what we see. I believe we have cleared the left and right, and now we need to have a look in the middle. Yep. Yes, we do.
How we cleared it?
Let's have.
A little bit silly that those guys in the middle are not reacted at all yet
Click. Some
with all of
damage.
that gunplay.
So this assault seeker actually has double functionality where you can throw it and it will explode on contact, or you can trigger it as it moves towards the target, or past the target even.
Push through the shield. Nice. Reload equipment. Reloaded. Reloaded. Oh, hello. No.
Yes, let's stand in the open and reload. Good move, Mr. Combat Director.
Floating bomb. Yeah. Oh, I missed time that. That was too far. Go and reload. Oh, push headshot. Yes, there we go. Great. Let's heal some health.
We see that the door is still locked over there, so there's
There's
enemies
still some
left.
enemies.
Yeah, that's the way we need to go. So we need to find the remainder of the encounters.
Yeah,
Hey, and from this vantage point,
some floating maybe.
we will absolutely succeed float.
That's where your bow comes into play.
Oh,
Ran out of juice.
No, bad. No, that's also bad. Please don't. I have to confess it. I don't have any. Oh, get away.
That's my experience with this.
Disruptor?
That's my experience with this Ecolab as well. It can get out of hand really
Yeah.
quickly if you're not very careful. If you solo this
Where
one.
is it? No. Okay, heal. Where's the heavy? If he's on the corner, I'll rotate right. One health
There's the
pack,
buggy in the
that's
corner
low.
over there.
They're low, they're safe. I have stamina, I have resources. Go. Okay, let's go. Daggers to hand. He was right here. There he is. Quantum bomb. Bam.
I'm just choosing to ignore you.
One.
Oh, you got.
Okay. Knee to the face. Dagger through. And run away. Give me my cooldowns back. And stamina. Stamina's one. Compel. Dagger. This is all about risk minimizing. I could have been much more aggressive. I could have risked my durability of my equipment. I chose not to. I believe we have mostly cleared the space. Let's have a reload and a look-see. Here we go. Right. Let's get back upstairs. To there. To there.
Yeah,
we
you see
go.
the door is green there. So we're not going to go through the next room. That's where Ina Hiller, the leader of this Ecolab or this testing station, is. We're gonna end the solo play at this point.
Yep. I love
Not spoil the boss here.
No,
Yes.
that's
Even though
fine,
we
yeah.
heard her talk actually earlier, so it's like they're gonna kill her this time around. So that gives us the opportunity to now from solo gameplay go into group gameplay. We're gonna set up some things behind the scenes. We're gonna watch a quick video first, and then we'll be right back with more gameplay for you to watch.
The little mouse. They're pretty cute critters. right, the radio station in game, which is also pretty entertaining.
And we are back again as we
Yeah, I can't
set
either.
up a few more things.
Get my
behind the
base building,
scenes. The crew will tell me when
grow
we're
it,
ready to actually
work on my
go. You
research
ready?
trees.
Well, that was fast. Was super
Make some good
efficient,
gear.
because we were actually, yeah, because we're going to talk a little bit more about the differences between the ecolab that we just went through solo and the ecolab that we're actually going through now in group play. We can still do that. Actually, we can explain that a little bit as well, because the approach is going to be quite different. Plus, also we see more group viability, or like group gameplay, group, like, what's the term I'm looking for?
Coordination,
coordination,
a little
thank
bit
you.
of planning,
Exactly.
well, a little bit more of them planning, because these locations are in the deep desert, so you have
Yeah.
to have a fair bit of planning and protection, because not everyone here is a friend.
Yeah, the deep desert ecolabs, they are in PvP areas, so you run the risk of PvP here, obviously.
Also, we see also the players here. They
Thank you for the
wear
follow, Garnet. I
higher
appreciate it.
tier armor. They have better weapons. They have more abilities as well. Plus, but you're probably going to comment on that later on as well, the approach and the mechanics in this type of ecolabs is kind of different than we just saw in the solo
Yes,
gameplay.
the enemies are much more aggressive. They're much higher tiered enemies. The weaponry and the gadgets and abilities they use against you are more advanced. Also here, the blood doors have an additional function where waves will spawn. So not only do you have to clear the room once, you have to clear it, you have to clear all the waves before you can actually continue to the loot. And loot also works a little bit differently in the deep desert compared to PvE areas. PvP loot and PvE loot works differently. So in PvE, everybody gets the loot. You can't cheat anyone, because anyone going up to the loot box, exactly, they will get the loot. However, here you have to trust that the first person to get the loot actually will share it with the group, which may or may not be the case.
So better make sure you have a good friend.
PvP looting.
Let's say that
Oh,
way, right?
man.
So, yes.
So yeah, we just used we just cut down the door, as you saw. This is the same technology as is used to harvest rocks and materials out in the world.
Players are going to advance through the first of the blood doors, exploring the space around them, and
That's,
we will
I
experience.
think Camille playing, so he is actually looting boxes. Thank you. Better from anxiety.
Let's see what our players encounter. Exploring the space. I love these. These are so different just to seeing desert all of the time. It's lovely.
I do recommend having a shot caller on the team, someone who coordinates, because if everybody just do their own thing, these enemies are not only higher tiered, they have more health, they're much more aggressive.
Also, can we talk about friendly fire?
Absolutely.
So you won't do damage to your friends with normal darts, things like that. However, area effects, abilities, and the flamethrower will actually damage.
Right down
you.
here
You won't take full damage, but you
It's the party.
So everything that kind of does area of effect damage, right, will also kind of damage, do
Yeah,
damage to
yeah.
your friends.
So things like poison, explosives, flame, when delivered in an AoE, which is also flamethrower, and in a deployable, like you showed me using the assault seeker beforehand. And CC effects like suspensor grenade or reduction grenades are also applied in full. So you really need to manage
That's interesting.
your AoE CCs to not hamper your allies. I believe our players have just defeated one of the waves, and then they're now preparing to receive the next. They will rearm and recruit and be ready to rock and roll. And we'll do maybe some of the shot calling for them instead, because they're all very, very focused on the gameplay.
They also have different builds, different abilities equipped, different weapons, which is interesting. These ones just switch between those different.
I love the camera work that we're doing right here. Like we saw one player focusing an NPC, and then we immediately switched to his friend to focus on the same NPC. This is exactly the kind of coordination players will need to exhibit in these locations. While it may not be obvious until you're actually playing these places, these NPCs are significantly stronger, they're faster, they are much more dangerous. However, some people might want to challenge themselves and come here by
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to checking these out.
They also retreat, they use cover, they use the same abilities that players have at their disposal as well, depending on how
Yeah,
what
they'll
kind of
dash
enemies
and
they are.
they'll parry much more often as well. I do want to mention one thing again to the beta players, that we have listened to feedback when it comes to how friendly fire works. Friendly fire will still be valid for groups, but we are reworking how they affect guilds, basically.
Prior to this change, both guild mates and group mates were considered allies for the purposes of not taking damage.
Exactly.
This is one
And
of my
guildmates
favorites.
are
I
now
can tell
not.
that's a Swordmaster build.
Only the people
This
in
we
the
saw
group
at the green effect,
get the
which is
friendly
basically
fire
passive,
protection.
Of the Swordmaster archetype. If you kill someone, it will give you a buff for, I think the first level is 15% more damage for the next attack as well. After you kill
You see
someone.
the Bene Gesserit, they stand apart because their effects are black or dark.
It's very distinct, so players can understand what's happening around them. It's good group play approach.
This is very good.
These haze are, these, especially these
It's
haze are
almost,
very dangerous.
it's almost as if they're knowing what they're doing.
Right? It's wonderful. Bit of resource management, a bit of coordination, a little bit of healing.
What we saw there
So
was quick
waiting for the
looting.
next wave.
They looted them quickly. They didn't have to go into an inventory. You can go into an inventory and just pick the pieces you want, but that was quick looting where you just hit spacebar and you get them one by one.
You can see that the poison that they threw on the enemies also impacted that player.
So in the paradigm that we have, applying a
The limited
will remove
friendly fire
poison.
friendly fire protection is I think actually is smart.
Well, especially both in PvE and PvP, they have
Design, I mean.
Only will they force NPCs to move because NPCs don't like to be in bad clouds of green stuff. It also forces
In the
players
PvE
to
areas,
make a choice between
if there's a box
do I stay here
there,
and suffer
it's
this
instance
small
for
but
you.
significant
See,
effect,
everybody
or
gets to
do I
loot
want
it
to
independently. In these PvP dungeons, because this one's in the deep desert,
That was really nice.
whoever
They were
loots
almost
it
out of
gets it,
stamina, like-
and you got to share it with
Really
everybody
nice like
else.
that.
I don't think we mentioned, but enemies will. Oh, yeah, you saw one. And enemies will
They will
actually.
revive,
They will
yeah.
actually. Sometimes they run away, and you wonder what they're doing. They're doing the same thing the player is doing. They're actually
Yeah.
running away to heal, so that they
heal.
can come back.
And they can, of course, also revive themselves. They can get out of the down but not out state
Exactly,
as well,
yeah.
like players can.
I love the floating light machine gun.
And I mean, obviously, if
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah, it was mostly solo for me as well.
Yeah.
But even in these, I mean, it might be a good idea to have somebody that's the designated looter that you can split it up with, but then you'd have to, of course, it would have to be somebody you can trust.
It's like actually one of the first mental.
Be interesting to see how the community
And now we're in
handles it.
Yeah. So the old
That's-
Yeah, that's a thick wave.
Let's see how well we do. A little bit of panic, a little bit of crossfire. The question is, will our team survive and succeed and receive
Nice.
the rewards?
Depends on the hardware, from what I understand.
Nice one. Oh my god. Okay, brownie points. That was really nice.
Very good. Very good. I enjoy it.
Unscripted joke.
Oh,
Awesome. Not that we have
Please.
anything scripted here really, but that was really nice.
here we go. 1, 2. Ooh. Through the shield. Shield broken. Almost broken.
He's gonna.
He's still focusing
Nice.
on. Okay, nice.
That's a flamethrower heavy.
Also,
And he's
we've
burning some
seen-
friends.
Also, we've seen a knife earlier, and now we actually see a sword in action.
One of the big differences that Vila mentioned before is the gameplay stylization. Swords are an area of control weapon. They're a little bit slower than daggers, but daggers allow you to quickly attack and also.
The big thing that I keep seeing here is them,
Really want to focus on for our melee
the
play
camera
styles,
not
which is
following
not
the view of the character, which I know can be an independent thing. And I think that's part of the reason that we see a lot of missing,
Can choose to enjoy
is they're just not
meaningful and engaging, and they will
directing the
have
attacks where they need to.
strengths and weaknesses.
I mean, I gotta say it again.
I didn't
love
experience a lot of that in the beta weekend,
I
so
combine Swordmaster plus Bandit Jesuit skills, and I absolutely love it. Plus, I have a sniper rifle because I either want to be super far away and kill people really fast, or be in their face. Like that's kind of a playstyle. I love it too. And it
They were just saw a
looks-
suspensor blast from the
Yeah.
enemy there, which staggered our friend here.
Ooh, that's a big.
he's running out of stamina.
Oh, no. Uh-huh.
Oh,
So here we see some special NPCs. These NPCs are configured to be different from the normal experience, wherein the actions and abilities that they
About to be
control are
downed.
much more
30% health.
really wailing
less
on.
cool. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he was just downed.
Oh my
You
god.
guys have to work harder to survive. Let's go. No cheating.
Should have used that presence.
He shouldn't have been off in the corner on his own, obviously.
Quite differently to the normal experience outside of the deep desert. They have abilities that players do. They are on a lower cooldown, and they are much, much more eager to use them against players.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Very.
Let's call it aggressive. Yeah, they're very aggressive. Yes.
Ability use. Oh, they defeated the wave.
They
That's
did
fantastic.
actually. Yeah, they did defeat them.
Then we are waiting. Oh, and they're prepping as well with turrets and everything. Right.
Also getting
Let's
their
see
friend.
where the next wave comes in from. Oh, bubbles. Bubbles everywhere. A bit of focus.
Be nice there. You can see all the abilities that that specific NPC has.
Access granted.
They cleared it.
They need to defeat all of the NPCs before the next wave triggers. Oh, actually, was that the last wave?
I was just wondering that. I was just about to ask.
I
Yeah,
believe
they cleared it.
Yeah, yeah.
Successfully succeeded.
Because it's actually, yeah, because the door is green there.
Yeah.
So, just the last thing.
Good job.
Good job, team. It was
And
wonderful.
we can see here on the left, in the
Yeah.
lower left corner, that they're all grouped up. You see the names of them and everything. So
Right, yes.
Good going group. Good going team.
Absolutely. One of
Someone took one for the team, which is totally okay. Someone, you have to have a sacrificial lamb.
the, and now that awkward moment where trust is tested in terms of who chooses who gets the loot.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Well, you have
Exactly.
a leader. You have a leader who hopefully like distributes loot fairly. But yeah, you nicely see there the group set. Actually, the group setups has changed.
Okay.
Oh, it's oof.
Who? The group setup is changing there behind the scenes. Okay, yeah, nice.
It's one of those moments when
Where'd the other two group members go?
Never
Our
say it
friends
again.
won't be
Make sure
friends.
you know your friends. You have close friends. Was it like keep your friends close, not keep your enemies close?
The other two decided to what?
Keep your friends
Oh.
close, your enemies close.
Yep.
Oh, from the second perspective. Oof.
It's just, this is a single.
So, a 2-on-2 fight, a 2-on-2 player fight in a confined space is going to get messy.
You saw that
There's gonna be
holographic
comments
skull
on the screen. There's
that
gonna
the
be
player
effects
died
going
to?
off. We
Right
will
there.
see if we can comment as best as we can to what's happening.
See,
Like
there's
esports
someone
commentator,
dead there already.
like-
Oh, they took somebody down. That was very fast.
Is it two
No.
versus one now?
Stamina
Or
list.
is it? Yeah, 2 versus 1. Yeah.
It wasn't 2 versus 2. It was 2 versus 1 versus 1.
This is very nice.
Oh, someone went
And he
prescient.
managed to catch him.
Cheating! They're cheating.
No, I mean,
I would call it cheating. If someone goes present and I can't, it's obviously cheating. Someone
I
has like.
believe somebody got betrayed.
looks like it.
Oh, and there's another. Oh, there's a second
Ooh,
betrayal.
that was a Bennett Jesuit skill
oh
on
yeah.
a friend.
That's
That's
funny.
like that's like the ultimate betrayal. If you use a Bennett Jesuit skill on your friend,
Yeah, yeah.
that is just the ultimate
The
betrayal.
question is, who is the better player?
This is an interesting fight.
This is very close.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Oh, it's
Someone
getting
ran out of
staggered.
stamina.
No, yeah. It's 1v1.
Oh.
Oh,
And then we
it's
saw the new whirlwind.
Yeah.
so. That was dumb.
Sword is there. Oh, I believe. Oh, the count is back. Needs to be a little bit more ability use and a little bit better stamina management. Bank your stamina and deploy it in one big burst.
Actually, you don't see the stamina on the other player, even if you're prescient, which is actually really. I think that's. Oh,
Oh, boom.
that's close. It almost got One of the players is sitting
Some
right
some
here,
tension in the
and he
room
just
here.
went like throwing his head back, and his headphone just went flying. It's just like, well done, though, team. Well done. That
There
was
can only
great.
be one.
There can only be one. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There can only be one. But yeah,
Gonna
make
be
sure you
interesting.
have close friends. before
Any
if you
kind
go
of
into these
pickup
type of
group
situations.
is going to be
Situations is
really,
actually
really
one of the
interesting out there in the
add-ons
deep
that
desert.
they designed the game around, which is making friends and enemies.
Hey, how you doing,
Care
Isa?
Which is which, but if you make
Good to see you.
friends, if you're making enemies,
I definitely got
the
lost in
game
that bit of
will sustain itself, I think.
betrayal BVP in that part of the video.
I would care who are my friends. I was like, you don't care who is which.
I can't wait to get in the game, man. I can 6 more days. Oh,
So there you go. Like in terms of friends and enemies and
That's
frenemies.
great.
And, yeah.
A little bit less than 6 days now, right? 5 days, 23 and a half hours, or 22 and a half hours. We're almost there.
Well,
Okay,
plans
no
with
So
plans,
ready.
plans. You know, that's how it goes.
No pun intended. Who was the instigator? I blame Camille, by the way, behind the scenes there.
I think I
So-
saw him play some mine or something.
He's
talk about
denying.
that.
He's denying it. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I'm 100% sure. I know it wasn't anyone else. My mind was Camille. Anyway, that was the combat section. Thank you so much, Viljar and Alex, for being here chatting and showing off some of the gameplay. We have, of course, as we mentioned earlier today, beta weekend coming up that a lot of players will be able to enjoy and
Okay.
test the combat.
That's pretty much the end of this video
themselves.
in this section.